What's going on, everybody? Uh, this is going to be my first live stream. I've been trading for about a few years now, and um, I'm friends with a few individuals who do have some very important knowledge, and I feel like now's the time that I can finally take the next step forward and show you guys pretty much what we're seeing here. I mean, it's election time. Like, it's crazy, Like, I was surprised that the markets actually held up as well as they did in this range here. We've had a lot of downside momentum. We've had a lot of downside momentum here. We finally had some basing. Finally broke out over this 330, 80, 333 level. And we had a nice strong day today. And it looks like unless bearing any crazy volatile news, we should somewhere maybe stay in this range between 332 and 338. Of course, if something unexpected happens, then we could see, some either crazy exhaustion push or we could just come back down into this lane here. As you see, what I'm using here is called a volume profile. It just overlays where the most volume has been done in a certain area. And so most of the volume has been done on SPYs down here. So any pull-ins to this area should practically be defended by this level of orders. As you can see, we did come into this volume profile and did reject it pretty much to the T coming up here. So overall, I mean, we are still in an uptrend. We had this huge move down in September. We came down and tested these lows, and I mean, it looks like we've tried to bounce above 320. All these people saying SPY's gonna go back to 270 and 260 and 280, and I could maybe we could test 300 if some crazy bad news happened. But I mean, as of right now, we are holding these prices. If things go as planned, as whatever the market is looking for, we should see some continuation higher. Now, a lot of hedge funds, and I have some outside research through Goldman Sachs, a lot of hedge funds are positioned short. They are hedged right now. So that is one main thing, especially with the economic uncertainty, that is one main thing. What I want to go over though is just a few names in play. I'll do this really fast. How I trade, I usually trade just anything moving. I don't really like technical stocks like that. Um, use a little bit of fibs, not too much. Usually just keep it pretty simple. One moving average. I use volume at the bottom here. Um, I've been trading Neo these last few days. Neo has been incredibly strong. We actually saw a bunch of call sweeps this day. I actually took a position on this day, somewhere in this consolidation here. I held through this pullback. I sold one contract on this day, and then over the weekend, I got the gap up and I sold my last position. I actually did trade it this day. I actually, on the open on this day, I actually shorted and longed Neo. I actually went short. We saw some sellers. We couldn't get over $34. One thing that I didn't do, I didn't cover all of my position into this down flush. We eventually found some support buyers. I saw us holding right here. I went long, seeing that we were holding the opening price. The stock had just gapped up. I really don't like shorting strong stuff. I just thought maybe we can have a little pullback down into here. We did get it later, but not until we popped back up. That's Neo. Neo is prone for continuation higher. I mean, it's closing at highs. You guys should definitely keep this on you guys' watch list here. Let's see. APPS was mentioned a little bit. Um, this stock has been a recent high flyer. I would really be looking at 35. We got a little support there. We could probably come in, test, travel between this range, and then make a move higher. Let's see. There's some other. I'm gonna just go through the pretty much the top stocks on the play, and I'll just kind of run through the list with you guys. We can do this really fast. Disney. Disney actually has earnings on 11/12. I'll keep that on watch. Not too much in play for me here. I like trading stocks and play with some news. We do have a little bit of a pattern forming here, but I'm not going to be too much worried about that. GSX, this is in the dump. Guys, don't trade stuff like this. It's so hard to catch when it's going to actually rebound. Stay away from that. NEO, we discussed that. This does have some room higher. Let me see. FSLY is an interesting one. Um, I usually don't like trading stuff like this that's so oversold. You guys could get a little bit of a pop maybe into this 73.50, but you see this consolidation, especially right here. It's gonna have some tough time getting over that. Twitter is one name that I believe is a good area to watch on for a bounce. We had some dip buyers in. I think this was the bad news that came in on Twitter earnings. Earnings. I think their active users went down, and so they come into this huge support area. They had some nice amount of buying today, but man, this chart is just so ugly. We could probably actually move the volume profile maybe 2 days, 1 minute. Let's see if we could see something here. 10 days, 30 minutes. Yeah, most of the volume is done here. We got a little volume right here. Yeah, I mean, if you can get an up move on this. Those earnings weren't really the best, though. I kind of stay away from it. One name I would keep on watching is JD. I love this pattern. I love these patterns. Anytime I see a chart like this, I want to buy it. Like, regardless, I just want to buy this. So, we got a clear range. The stocks are in play. PDD is also one that I traded today. I was actually talking about this morning. I was actually calling this out in one of my chats here. Um, we came into the open. I was actually watching for an opening drive. We failed. We failed. We failed. This popped up on my radar. I had an alert set. I pretty much went long over this opening drive. I kind of chased the tad, but I knew that we would have some room at least into the previous all-time high, which was the previous all-time high. I think it was 98, 99.15, something like that. So I knew we had room, and a lot of times when stocks are that close, they usually would just go into 100. So I took a long over here, and I sold most of my position. Actually, a little bit above 98. I didn't catch this full move. I just wasn't confident in it. And we did travel and tag 100. But that is one to put on watch. I'm going to go through these pretty fast. I'm not trying to make this a long video. Square, it has earnings 11.5. That's actually in a couple of days. I'm actually going to move this to one of my watch lists because this can actually move off of earnings if earnings are good. Those stocks, financial sector, payment, any of those payment things, stocks, finance 2.0 companies, those are things you should be looking out for. DraftKings, I'm thinking this I might do a separate video on. Maybe I'll look into the financials. They have earnings coming up. I might actually want to grab some shares in this. I actually have used FanDuel, not to be biased, but we've had this strong move from IPO price of 17 up into 44, pull back, consolidate, held 30. We had this massive run up into 64, got sold off. Some hedge funds, I think the shares got released, so I guess the people who were in since IPO can now share their shares. We came back down, and we're pretty much back at this price that we defended before. I'm really liking this, especially if we can get over 40. I know some people are buying next year's calls on this name. If COVID eases up, this might be a good stock to look at. Nvidia and AMD really haven't been in play lately. I used to, love trading this on these moves up, trying to catch these green days. It's kind of hard now. You don't really have a clear setup. So much overhead. Maybe if we get a strong, I didn't mean to do 10-day, 30-minute. These are just different time frames that I use. I mean, we kind of are trying to break this trend line. If I draw a trend line here, we are trying to break that. But this name really isn't in play right now. Neo. Li is one I know off the top of the head. I'm not going to go through this right now because this scan is probably filled with a lot of people going on options. So I'm not going to really worry about that. Li is one that I didn't catch, but I'm actually putting this on watch list. A lot of traders are mentioning it. This is one of those EV names. These names are ridiculous. I'll tell you guys one strategy. If you mix in Li with Neo and Tesla, if you look at all three of these names, you will find similarities, and you can find edge in some of these setups when you do have multiple names in the sector all doing the same thing. Sorry, the screen's kind of, you know, compressed, but look at these. All of these same charts did exactly this, pretty much exactly the same thing today. They all went up. You can literally look at these and you can gauge your context and figure out which stocks you really want to be in, etc., etc. That is just one little strategy there. Other than that, I don't want to go over too many names. Baba is another name to watch. They have failed IPO. I actually traded this earlier. Was looking for a long on this. I actually traded this. I'll go over my trade with you guys. I actually went long on this candle here, and I was looking for us to really reclaim. I was right later with wrong timing. I got stopped out. I should have sold my position here, seeing we couldn't break 286, but I stopped out down below. And so this would have been a nice double bottom, higher low entry with this trend line right here. You can even take the break when you break the moving average or when you break the opening range. You just have better risk reward when you're getting in, closer to the lows. But that is a more advanced entry to place to look for entries. Usually the easiest entries are the range break. Um, Other than that, keep an eye on financials. People have been mentioning them. I like it maybe if they get out of this range. You see how we're at this huge volume area right here. Maybe if we break out of this range, but pretty much staying away. The market's going to be pretty crazy going into elections. I'm being open minded to both sides. I'm going to be pretty much watching the futures all night to see what's going on here. Um, we had a strong sell off right before the close, probably profit takers. Hedge fund, anybody can say, hey, let me just get out. We got some basket selling. Some people don't want to hold until the election day. We see we're getting a little bit of a bounce here after hours, but this can either easily go each way. Also looking at the cues, technology had an amazing day, and I think actually outperformed SPYs. Still had that same sell-off. We are underneath this range in the cues. I will say one thing, guys. If we are at these supports and the market does like the election results, we are going to be right back up into the upside, and everybody's going to be like, oh, well, what happened? What happened? What happened? So, with that being said, with this 267 support holding, we have higher lows. I mean, I don't really want to get bullish during times like this, but maybe we just stay inside of this range for a little bit until this kind of all clears up. So. FXI is a Chinese name. Keep an eye on this. These are China large cap ETFs. It has stocks like Baba and JD. Keep an eye on these. Keep an eye on gold. Gold. I was actually looking at gold before the close. I just wasn't really too sure about it, but gold is currently up on the move in after hours. People are going to be positioned into gold going into this election. Gold is a one of those plays. So keep an eye on gold. I wish I would have got a piece of that. I was really looking at it. I just didn't like how we still hadn't confirmed. We were 4 days off of the lows here. It's okay. Keep an eye on Zoom. This thing, wow. I guess they moved their earnings. I thought earnings were closer than what they're listed on here, but keep an eye on Zoom. We're kind of trying to form the support. A lot of people have gotten out of this name. We're down 130 points from 580 here, so clearly it doesn't like 600. Keep an eye on those names in general. Everything else, just keep an eye on cues so you can gauge the actual, Amazon and Facebook and names like that. People were buying some Facebook up, but I'll leave that alone. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm new to this. I'm just kind of just showing you guys a couple of the things I look at, a couple of the things that I like to trade. I can go over different strategies. I'm not going to go too in depth. I mean, it's hard to give out strategies, but just little tidbits and stuff like that. VWAP is something that you guys should be using. It's usually on most brokers. VWAP is very important, and things like that. I'll make some more videos and I'll go over some more stuff. I do primarily trade options and equities. I've been trading options a lot more because of the leverage. So I am familiar with how to option contracts, volatility, stuff like that. So if you guys have any questions or need anything, let me know. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be glad to share some things with you guys. And I hope you guys take it easy. Don't let everything get to you. And I will see you later. You have a good one, guys.